Well, here we are. It's been a few weeks since the recall was announced on the Cummins engine in the Ram trucks. $2 billion. That is a chunk of change. And everybody's wondering what is going to happen to my truck? What does this recall entail? When we talked to you about this on the show, we speculated, as usual. We took all the information that we could, which was super vague, and we gave you our best hypothesis of what could happen. Now, with several weeks gone by and thousands of people who have gone in and had this recall performed, which hasn't taken very long, according to them, we're broadcasting to over 100,000 people on podcasts and 500,000 people on the radio every week, and just our few people here on YouTube. Thanks, everybody who's watching. So we get a number of emails and contact from people who've had this done. When we first announced it, we had a lot of people that were asking, Russ, Shannon, what are we going to do? I don't know. What should I take my truck in? What do I do? It's been deleted. What do I do? Well, if you've deleted your truck, that's for you to decide what you're going to do, because they're asking for the submissions recall. You have to take the truck in. When you take the truck in, they're going to see if it's been deleted or not. They're going to know if you take the tune out of the computer, even if you put it back to stock, they'll know that it was altered. But here's the thing. Some states, they're not letting you, if you don't have this recall done, you can't get the truck registered. They're pulling your registration. California is one of them with the California CARB, California Air Resource Board. You're not going to get it registered. I would assume that the other states that follow the California emissions are going to do the same thing. It's pretty stringent on their policy, and that's what they want to do. Other people have been very concerned that when they take their truck in, they're going to find out if it has been deleted or not. Many people have told me that they've taken the truck in. It was deleted. They told them, we're going to flash your computer. It's going to remove any aftermarket tuning we have, and now your check engine light's going to be on because you've got this thing deleted. And here's what else they've told me. They've told me that once they've had it flashed with the factory software and said, oh, yeah, wink, we'll return it back to normal and put all the emissions controls back on it, they have not been able to program their computer again. So whatever happened with that software update locked their computer. Now, if you are the proud owner of a newer Ram truck, and when I say newer, I think it's the 2021, 22, 23, you can't buy a tune. You can't get a tune for this truck at all. If you want to delete it, which is, illegal, you're not supposed to do that, remember? Anyways, if you're trying to delete this truck, you actually get an entire computer for it to delete it. Many people are doing that in Canada. They won't ship those to the United States, but people are getting them anyway somehow, and they're getting them here in the United States, and they're putting the whole computer in, which is taking care of their issues. So they've gone out and they've flashed their truck, and then they've bought this computer kit, flipped it over, and now they've got a registration, because the truck has had the flash done. So however you do it, we're not suggesting that you delete your truck by any means, because that's not supposed to be done, right? But what we are telling you is what we know about this recall. Now, you're all wondering, what did it do for $2 billion? What did the American public get? They're claiming, the EPA said there's emissions defeat devices built into the truck, allowing it to pollute more. Worth $2 billion. Well, apparently, everyone we've talked to, and that's been a lot of people that have done actual testing on their truck, they've done fuel mileage tests, they've done towing tests, they've done highway mileage tests, they've done power tests, everything they can. They've taken pictures of their fuel gauge and their def gauge. And what they have found out is that with a full tank of def, both before and after the change and doing all these miles per gallon tests and everything, the only thing that changed was the def gauge drops to zero faster, and then the truck goes into lockout saying you need to fill this thing with def or we're going to reduce the power. Before, you used to basically be able to run it out of def before the light would come on. That would allow the truck to pollute more and put out more nitrates because more NOx because the truck was basically out of def. It appears that the only thing that this recall has done was recalibrate the def gauge on the dash so that it runs out of fuel quicker. So if that makes sense to you, where let's say you ran through 2.5 gallons of def before and it was empty, now you'd go through 1.5 gallons, or depending on what's in the tank. But I'm just saying that the def gauge is dropping faster to reach empty, whereas before, if you ran through, you run through a full tank and here it is on empty and you still got a couple left. Now you run through like 3/4 of a tank and it's sitting on empty. That appears that's the only thing they did. Now, is that worth a $2 billion fine? Look what happened. And they've known about this. Apparently, it looks like they first discovered this back in 2019. So they've waited almost 5 years or so, go further than 5 years to get this out and recall it. $2 billion and that long. Look what they did with the Dieselgate with Volkswagen and how fast they jumped on that. And how they were buying back cars by the thousands, tens of thousands, keeping them in fields. Remember all the football fields we saw packed full of these things in old warehouses? And whatever happened to all those? That was crazy. But yet these Ram trucks, get it in as soon as you can. We'll do a quick reflash on it and you'll be good. And $2 billion. We wonder, what more is there out there? You can speculate and say, well, this is a way just to get the trucks in and find out exactly how many of these out on the road have had a tuner put in them and been deleted. What better way, right? That's one way to do it. So just our thoughts. Oh, if you can notice, this is Real World YouTube. My lights went off, so all I have to do is stand up and move because they're motion sensitive. Watch this. All right, that's Real World on the End of the Hood show. Typically, Shannon's moving like crazy right over there, so we don't have that problem. But what do you think? If we're going to speculate here, based on the evidence, all they did was reprogram the fuel gauge so we can see. Do you think, I want you to leave a comment here below. Do you think this is more about the def, making sure that thing doesn't run out and pollute a little bit while the def is really low, but you got to fill it anyways eventually? Or is it because they want to see how many trucks are out on the road that have been deleted? Because we know they've gone after the big guys on these tuners, and they've shut down some of these companies, and they fined them massive amounts of money and tried to make them perform restitution on these to get them back to their stock configurations. They're going after the little guy. You can guarantee it. They're coming eventually. The way they're pushing electric cars and they're pushing emissions, they're coming. So do you think that's what it's about? Are they about finding out who's running what in their truck? And you have your privacy, but do you? I don't know. this looks to be just the first of stuff coming. I'm sure they'll be looking at other trucks too. But the good news is we didn't seem to have our horsepower affected. Guys have put these on the dyno and didn't notice anything before and after. And that's coming, like I said, from 500,000 listeners every week. And if you listen to the show, you know there is a ton of truck people with these Ram trucks that are calling us. So let us know what you think in the comments. That's just our thoughts from what we've seen and what we've gathered. Crazy thing is that so far, Cummins and Ram have not told us what the problem is. Volkswagen did. So why has Cummins and Ram not come out and said what the problem is that they're changing? I mean, if anything, you should have a right to know exactly what they changed on your truck. I think that would be a fair statement. If you're going to touch my vehicle, whether it's in warranty or not, what did you do? If they said we reprogrammed this to do this because this was defeated, great. But they're not telling you that. People are finding out on their own. And the one thing that the world has got to give people credit for is they do find out what is going on. The truth always comes out. And people on YouTube, the mechanics out there, the at-home do-it-yourselfers, they always find a way around things, find a way to do things, and they find out what is being hidden from them in these cars. So thanks, everybody. Take care. We'll see you on the next episode of the End of the Hood Show. See ya.